in memory of we gather here tonight in memory of Ammi Rishani Wickramasuriya. Tonight we also have Venerable Dhammarakita Thero to conduct the sermon. Venerable Dhammarakita and Dhamma helped Ammi or Rishani during a very difficult time in terms of helping her settle her mind and come to peace. And we thank them both for this. We are very grateful for the Venerable Dhammarakita. So we will start our proceedings soon, and there will be question time at the end. I now hand over to Venerable Thero to conduct the sermon.
Thank you. To start the sermon, can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu 3 times?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Pabassaramidam bhikkhave chittang tanchako agantuke upakkhilissehi upakkilittanti iti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Bhashita, children, relatives, and other Dhamma friends, we have gathered here to commemorate the first death anniversary of Bhashita's beloved wife, mother, relative, and a friend, and a noble friend. Since Lash mentioned, she was a person who faced the difficult situation she was in with tremendous amount of courage. And that was able to be done simply because she had a very good command over her mind. So therefore, I decided today to talk a little bit about mind. And it's a vast ocean, and we won't be able to cover the breadth and depth of the mind in 1 hour. But let me try my level best to give a drop from that ocean, and hope you will be able to understand what I'm saying to the best of your ability. So the direct translation or the meaning of the stanza I just recited is luminous because is the mind, but it is defiled by adventitious defilements. So if you take this stanza, this verse, what the Blessed One says here is that the mind is usually bright, mind is usually pure, but due to adventitious defilements, in other words, accidental, unplanned, uninvited defilements will come and take that brightness of the mind, that purity of the mind. So, in other words, when you say luminous, it is talking about the purity. It is talking about a situation where there are no contaminations. So, when something is not contaminated, it is very strong. Say, for example, distilled water. So it's very pure and it's very strong. It cannot be consumed. It can be used for some other high purposes. So similarly, our mind at its most pure level, at its origin, at its source, it is so bright, so powerful, so luminous. You know, mind is something that we all talk about, but no one has a clue of what the mind is and how the mind is, where the mind is. So the mind, as we all can imagine, if it is not tangible, it is an energy, and it is like electricity. So electricity is something that you can't touch, but it is so powerful. If you take, for example, the brightness of the sun, the power of the sun, and the power of the sun is that it keeps the entire system controlled, an entire system dependent upon it. And similarly, the mind at its very source, at its very origin, it is so powerful. But this power is taken away by the accidental, unplanned defilements. So this original energy is defiled to change into other things. So what happens is, when an accidental or an unplanned defilement comes to this original energy, that no longer is the mind. So therefore, when the mind is defiled, when that energy is defiled, we call it consciousness. So therefore, the Blessed One has said, consciousness is something that cannot be explained in isolation. Consciousness can be explained through an example. The example the Blessed One gives is the fire. So when there is a fire, fire is the generic term, but the fire will be identified from how it started. Say, Australia is very famous for wildfires. So when there is a wildfire, we don't simply call it fire. We shortage, then we call it is caused by electricity. And similarly, if it is caused by cigarette butt, we call it is from that. And during Buddha's time, Buddha was saying, when the fire is from the firewood, we call it firewood fire. And when it is from cow dung, during Buddha's time, we call it is fire from cow dung. And similarly, in present day, it may be from gas, it may be from solar power. So whatever it is, the fire will be identified, how it happened and how it originated and what contributed to it. Similarly, when the mind is defiled, when the original state of the mind is defiled, we will identify that as consciousness with or by which it is defiled, or from which it is defiled. Say, for example, if the eye has got involved in bringing this accidental defilement, then we don't call it eye mind, we call it eye consciousness, because the original state, original luminous nature of the mind is no longer there. Original energy nature is no longer there. It has been defiled. It has some additional contamination has gone into that original energy. So you call it eye consciousness. So it's still an energy, but it is connected with that, with eye. So similarly, when it is defiled by ear, we call it ear consciousness. And when it is defiled by the tongue, we call it tongue consciousness. When it is defiled by the nose, we call it nose consciousness. And when it is defiled by the tactile sensations, by the body, then we call it body consciousness. And when it is defiled by the mind itself can bring so many defilements, then we call it mind consciousness. So in this manner, that original energy, which was so luminous, which was at its base, which was at its baseline, gets contaminated with something, gets corrupted with something, and then mind becomes consciousness, and that consciousness will be identified by which it is defiled. So in this manner, when you see something, you don't just see it, and then you will see whether it fits you, whether you like it, and if you like it, you take a photograph, you take a video, and if possible, you will buy it, and you will take it home, and you will have it forever. And similarly, when there is something that you like on your ear, you will do the same thing. And at the same time, if there is something that you don't like, you will do your level best to keep it away from you, to get rid of that. So in this manner, that I consciousness, turning off the energy into the defiled base, does not stop there. It keeps moving, and you defile it more and more. And then we don't know at the end of the day what has happened, what we are doing. So say, for example, if a handsome boy sees a girl or beautiful, that seeing, that just the seeing will take a long way. They may become friends, and they may become girlfriends, and they may become husband and wife, and they become fathers and mothers, and then they will be grandparents at the end of the day. So what happened was that initial seeing, the initial contamination has taken a long way, and energy, when it is contaminated, it goes to an extent that we can't understand. And when these things are happening, we never know that this is an energy that is getting converted in this manner. So therefore, this is why Einstein said E is equal to mc squared. And if the mass is rotated, or if it is if its intensity is increased by such a huge speed, then that mass will naturally become energy, right? So, but here what we have is, we absolutely don't have that original energy base. We are dealing with mass only. So when we say mass here, when you take, for example, a person, this conversion of energy into mass or energy into matter is happening in an unbelievable stressful way. So the explanation that the Buddha has given is the 6 sense faculties that we have, which I just mentioned, eye, ear, nose, etc. These sense faculties are in a tremendous competition to convert that original energy into consciousness. And that competition we can't see, because we are part and parcel of it. We have identified ourselves in that competition, in that trend, in that rat race. So therefore, the Blessed One says these 6 sense faculties are like 6 animals tied onto one rope. There is one rope to which 6 animals are tied. The 6 animals are, one is a dog, and a fox, bird, snake, a crocodile, and a monkey. So when these 6 animals are tied onto one rope, you can imagine what happens. They, instead of they fighting among themselves, dog will try its level best to pull all other animals and go to the village, because that is where he usually resides, and because that is where his habitat is. When the fox gets the opportunity, fox will try its level best to take all other 5 animals and take to its habitat. The habitat of the fox is, during Buddha's time, the cemetery. The cemetery has all the nutrients that a fox requires, because those days dead bodies were not cremated or buried. They were just thrown into the charnel ground, and all sorts of animals and go and have a feast. So therefore, the fox tied onto this rope is dragging all other animals and trying to go to the cemetery. And on the other hand, the bird will try to take all other animals and fly into the sky, because that is where it usually is. And the snake will try to take all other animals and go into an anthill, because that is where a snake usually lives. And a crocodile will try to take everyone to the water, because its habitat is water. And similarly, the monkey wants to take everyone to the treetops, because that is where it usually lives. So just imagine, in addition to the normal fight they have among themselves, when they are pulling this rope to each side, what sort of chaos will be created. And that is how this luminous situation of the mind is defiled by these 6 sense organs. Eye tries its level best to have the entire attention of that energy, whereas the ear tries to take the entire attention of the mind. And similarly, the tongue, similarly, the nose, similarly, the body, similarly, the mind. So we are working, therefore, with this so when this is happening, why we do this is, when the mind is defiled in this manner, defiled in the sense, the mind wants to have pleasure. That is the principle by which each and every animal, each and every living being is living. So because of the pleasure principle, mind is using or rather the 6 sense organs are converting this energy to give the pleasure from the eye, pleasure from the ear, so on and so forth. So when you try to take pleasure, you will not simply have pleasure permanently. You will not simply have the pleasure just because you have it. You will have to, if eye pleasure has to be given, you will have to suppress the ear pleasure as much as possible. And you will have to suppress the tongue pleasure as much as possible. Then only the eye will be able to have the complete investment, the complete attention of that original energy source. So just for example, just imagine you are going into a club, a nightclub. In a nightclub, you have all these things at once. You have so much of music, you have wonderful aromas there, and so much of beautiful, attractive forms, girls and boys, and then a lot of food and a lot of drinks and a lot of dancing, a lot of music, a lot of singing, and so many things at the same time. So when all these things are working at the same time in a place like that, and usually people go mad. because we have only one energy source. That energy source is trying to be grabbed by these 6 sense organs, and we don't know what is happening, and it is getting contaminated continuously. But although something like this is happening to human beings, when we try to satisfy our sense faculties, our societies are such that this is what is being recommended, this is what is being promoted, this is what is being accepted. This has become the norm. So therefore, even on the TV, if you see, say for example, musical show, the music means something that should go to ear. But instead, see the amount of colors they are doing, see the amount of decorations they are doing, see the amount of lot of other things that they are doing. Not only the ear they are going to satisfy, they are going to satisfy your visuals as well, your eye as well. And if you are really present there, then a lot of other things will be there. So therefore, the society is trying to satisfy all the faculties in one go. And the society or the lawmakers or the business people, either willingly or unwillingly, they promote this precarious way of living. They promote this frictional way of living. Instead of giving that energy source to one, even having one is also a defilement. But when it is so many, we don't know what's happening to us. So therefore, since the society is based on that, our education system is also promoting the same thing. What they say is, you know more, you learn more, then you can do more. So in the education system today, if you take a student, if you take a child, they will be doing more than one degree, because they want to know more. They want to have everything. So when they want to have everything, they are unnecessary creating pressure. And similarly, the governments are supporting for those things. And our systems are formulated, procedures are formulated to promote that. So what they say is, and if you are rich and if you are developed, you should have a lot of things that satisfy your eye. You should have a lot of things that satisfy your ear. So when you have more material things satisfying your sense faculties, then you are rich. Then you are a developed nation. So therefore, based on this contaminations, we decide how rich, how poor we are. So therefore, per capita income, gross domestic production are the numbers by which we are governed. So when we improve these numbers, when we improve our per capita income, when we improve our gross national income, gross domestic production, we don't care what happens to the other person. We don't care how these resources are, how these numbers are being improved. We destroy the nature as much as possible. We destroy the environment as much as possible. We make all sorts of pollutions, and then try to improve our numbers. By improving numbers, we improve as much materiality as possible, and at the end of the day, what we do is we satisfy sense faculties only. So in this game, what happens is, we will have to go to the state where you kill another animal just to improve the numbers. So you can see we have beautiful names for them. We call them poultry industry. Killing chicken is an industry now. Similarly, meat industry. Killing animals is an industry now. And manufacturing weapon is the most profitable business today. And selling drugs is the most profitable and most widely organized thing in the world today. And how have these things happened? We try to measure our development. We try to measure how wealthy we are using numbers, and those numbers are based on how our sense faculties are satisfied. So therefore, breaking precept, killing another man is no problem if the numbers are being developed. So you can see, being people living in this society, and the number of wars we are fighting, human beings are fighting, are increasing. That is because we don't know that this energy, so-called pure energy, luminous energy, has been defiled by these sense faculties, and they have been snowballed to an extent that no one knows what they are doing. And this still we call the development. But in my view, this so-called development has gone to the extent that destruction is in a flash, but the construction takes years. So you can think for yourself and see whether this is the real development, whether this is the real wealth that we have generated to the society. So what happens in all these situations when we go to the extent of breaking precepts, and when we go to the extent of justifying breaking precepts, and what happens is there will have so many people killed, there will have so many families scattered, and there will have homeless people, there will have so much of stress on a lot of other people, there will have burnouts, there will have tensions, there will have depressions. Why? Because that what at the end of the day happens is that an original energy source, that luminous energy source, that luminous mind has been defiled, and it has gone to an extent, it is corrupted to an extent beyond imagination. So this in that manner, this adventitious defilements that turns the energy into mass, energy into physicality, energy into materiality, has become a real issue in the society. Although it is an issue in the society, no one realizes it. And today, of course, few people are talking about a way out by taking that defilement out. And they have found, they have identified to eliminate all these issues, all these problems of stress, burnout, tensions, and breaking precepts, and one killing the other, can be stopped if the mind is developed. So they also have the slogan, train the mind, change the brain. But there is an unfortunate thing even there. They are using that development of the mind as a way to optimize the sense faculties again. They don't do it to bring the final happiness. They don't try to refine the mind just to see its original nature, but they want to refine the mind again to improve the numbers. So therefore, unfortunately, in the present day world, especially in the Western world, mindfulness is also an industry. So when it becomes an industry, good luck for the purification of the mind. It is never going to happen. When the purification of the mind is done, it should be done for the purpose of, just for the sake of purifying the mind. When the mind is purified, when you go to the original source of the mind, you have the luminous nature there. So you don't require any dollars or any cents or anything else for you to be happy. So therefore, a lot of people don't understand that. But fortunately, we have been born into a society where this Buddha's teaching is available. So he very clearly, very precisely identified that if you practice mindfulness, and that mindfulness can be used to purify you completely, by purifying you completely, you will be able to come out of all the troubles that you have. You can do it only for yourself. You can't do it for anybody else. Somebody else who has gone on the path will be able to tell, if someone is interested, this is how you do it, and this is what you will have to do, and he will be able to give just a little helping hand. But you will have to do it yourself. So this is exactly what Rishani did. And even before she fell ill, she had realized this thing, and she started the practice. So since I have been associating with her closely as a noble friend, and I know to what extent she has made up her mind. It is not by force, it is simply by taking away these defilements that she had generated for herself. So I remember when she was in the hospital for the last time, the doctors had given only 3 weeks, but she called me for something, and she gave me a report of her practice and how her mind was working. I simply could not believe a person who has been given 3 weeks to live is talking in such a pure, natural manner. So that way, she demonstrated to me how well she had cleared her mind. May not be she has, we don't know whether she has achieved any state or not, but her mind was so pure, so clear, and there were much less contamination in her mind. So therefore, this is something she has left us a legacy. So that legacy is what we have got to carry. And that may be the reason why, when there are so many monks in Brisbane, and Bhasita may have tried to invite me, because there are no many people talking about this skill that a human being possesses. So this is a potential of a human being. This is a skill that only a human being can develop. No other animal is able to develop this potential. And so therefore, the way out to come out of this miserable material mass contamination of our mind, we have got to use the technique of being mindful. So the mindfulness means simply the choiceless awareness. So when I say choiceless awareness, I remember in one of the places in Sri Lanka, when I was doing a sermon, somebody raised his hand and asked, "Are you saying that we are not choicelessly aware?" I said, yes, you are having choiceless awareness. But unfortunately, the direction of your choiceless awareness is outward. You have extroverted awareness. But what you will have to really have is not outer awareness, you will have to have inner awareness. So for you to have inner awareness, the direction has to be changed. It should be introverted rather than extroverted. So for you to turn your awareness, to turn your attention to the inner world, there should have 3 factors. The 3 factors that result in translating your awareness to the inner space is, you will have to be aware of yourself only. You will have to be aware of yourself right now. You will have to be aware of yourself right here. So if you have this choiceless awareness to I am here and now, then you are mindful. Otherwise, you are mindful, but it is not the mindfulness that we are talking about. That is the mindfulness that defile the energy. And when you are defiling energy, also it is sort of awareness is there. You are doing it with awareness. Without awareness, you can't do anything. But that awareness is taking you to misery. But when you turn the torch the other way around and when you turn it to your side, then you start saying, I am here and now. So that redirected choiceless awareness is mindfulness. So the question is, we are not used to it. So the question is, how are we going to do it? And doing it is easier said than done. What you will do is when you maintain choiceless awareness, you will have to simply become an observer. You will not go for any judgment. So therefore, initially, you will have to practice this. How you practice it is, there is a formal way to practice as well. I'm not going to explain the formal way here because it can be explained in a place where people are ready to practice at least for half an hour or so. Then the formal practice can be introduced. But still, I'm going to tell you, without the formal practice, you can introduce mindfulness into your day-to-day life. Say, for example, take the instances where you do things on your own with nobody else. For example, when you take a shower, I'm not talking about going for a swim in the sea or in the pool. You are taking a shower. When you take a shower, you are on your own. So when you are on your own, you can bring your awareness to yourself. You can bring your awareness to right here, right now. When I say bringing awareness to yourself, and we bring the awareness to our body. So you can see how the water is falling onto your body and what you feel. And you keep observing those things without making any judgment, without coming into any decision. So when you apply soap or shampoo, whatever, you keep your attention to the body, hand movements, head movements, and all that. Then with that, you will be mindful for that day-to-day activity when you do something. And similarly, when you prepare a tea, you can be observant of your bodily movements. When you boil water, when you take water from the tap, when you place it, when you press the button, when you are waiting for the boiling, and when you take the kettle again after it is boiled, and when you pour it into the cup, and when you put the tea bag, when you taste the tea, when you mix sugar, and all these things, when you are doing on your own, just pay your attention to the body, have your attention to the body. Then gradually you will learn the art of being aware while doing something in your day-to-day activities. Don't take your complex activities in the office or at workplace or while talking or while in a party. Don't try to be mindful because they don't work. So many variables are there. But take a simple work that you are doing on a daily basis. Say when you take your lunch or dinner, if you are not talking with, not taking with other people, chatting and watching TV and all that, just be mindful of the entire eating process. When you eat, all your sense organs are at work. When you see food, you feel craving. When you get the smell, your nose is active. And when you mix them, your hands are active. When you taste them, your tongue is active. And when you feel good, and when you want to take more, then your mind is active. So in this manner, and if there is any crunchy thing, your ear also may be active. So in this manner, all your sense faculties will be active when you eat food. So you can be mindful. for each and every morsel of food that you are taking. So in this manner, use mindfulness into your living. When you introduce mindfulness to the living in this manner, you are simply observing. By observation, you are not allowing any adventitious defilements to come into play. You simply let things happen and simply become an observer, and no judgment, no conclusion. Normally, when we do our research, when we do the projects, especially in the schools and even in the universities, usually we are asked to have 3 columns. One is the experiment, and then the observation, and then the last column is the conclusion. So in this experiment, which is also mindfulness is also an experiment, in that experiment, only 2 columns are there. The experiment and the observation only. We don't go to any conclusion. So we keep our judgment suspended. We keep our decision suspended and continuously keep observing, keep observing, keep observing. When you keep observing, you don't entertain any strange defilements coming into play. But if you take a judgment, if you decide on something, and if you conclude on something, that conclusion will be done by some defilement only, because observation is something that can never be stopped. So there is a nice example for it. Someone has been asked some time ago the length of the longest river in Sri Lanka, and he hadn't known. So he has been blasted, saying that it was for a very prestigious position in the public service sector, civil servant examination. And then he didn't know, and then he has been blasted. The civil servants that are coming for the exams or interviews these days, they don't have the general knowledge. They at least don't know the number of miles of the longest river in Sri Lanka, in the country. Then this interviewee on the following weekend paper, he said the length of the river is this much. But what guarantee do you have that that particular river, Mahaveli River, is having water only from the place you decided 0? To take the length, we will have to decide that this is the place that the Mahaveli River starts. But who has the guarantee to say the water, all the water starts there? To that place, water is coming from somewhere else. To that somewhere else, water coming from some other channel. And then when you keep on going, you don't know where the water is coming from. So therefore, if you conclude with the defilement only. So therefore, the Blessed One says, in order to get rid of these defilements, which have already been overwhelmed, in which we are already entangled, and in which we are in a maze that cannot be cleared, cannot be unentangled, you will have to simply keep observing, so that at least no more new defilements are added. So when no new defilements are added, then you have an opportunity to get rid of the defilements that have already been created. So if you go a bit more deeper, when you feel hungry, don't straight away open the fridge and munch something. Just observe your hunger. See, I'm not saying I'm not asking you to starve, but this is a way we can train our mind. You just see how you feel that tummy. And when you see that, when you observe that, for a few seconds, you may feel that hunger is no longer there. Because all this is created by our defiled mind. And if you openly see it, then that mind defilements will not take a chance, will not stand. So therefore, you may not feel hunger for some time. And these are things that people are doing and can be done. This is not just to avoid eating, but we can see we eat for craving, and that can be avoided. Excessive eating can be avoided, and lot of diseases coming out of the huge consumption of food can be avoided. Now, today the problem is not in some parts of the world lack of food, and people are dying and people are sick of that as well. But in most of the other areas, especially in the Western world, the excessive amount of food is the problem, because they are craving for it and they have no control over the defilement that is created by the mind, and they just become a victim to it. And also, I know there is someone who is so good in such observation, and this particular lady is having about few millimeters, about 8 or 10 millimeters, close to a centimeter, tear in her arm. And then she just keeps observing it, and she just observes the pain. And then it has become a normal for her. And then once something happened to the same area, and she has gone to see the doctor, and doctor has taken an X-ray, and then doctor has almost fainted, saying that there has been another tear there, which has been there for a long time. What do you do for that? Doctor has asked. She has said, no, I'm not doing anything. Then doctor has exclaimed, my God, don't you take at least a Panadol? No, she has said, no, I'm not taking. I'm just observing it, and I don't feel it as much. So therefore, when we have some aches and pains, don't straight away rush behind the pharmacies and rush behind doctors. Human beings are having an ability to generate more what you call purified cells by observing. But if you react to the situation you are in now, you are generating a reacted cell, a contaminated cell. That contaminated cell will create only another disease. It will lead only to another negativities. But if you simply observe each and every thought moment you are observing, you are generating neutral cells. So when you have neutral cells, it is easy for medicine to absorb, number one, and number two, more neutral cells you have, faster your recovery is. I'm not saying that this can be done for each and everything, but human beings have a capacity to generate our own immune system, and that immune system has been defiled by unplanned, uncontrolled, strange defilements that are being absorbed by our sense faculties. So therefore, for each and everything, there is a pill now. There is nothing where there is no pill. For everything, we have a pill. So therefore, this art of non-reaction is taking us a long, long way, and it changes the entire biochemical mechanism in our system, because our biochemical mechanism is based on reaction only, based on taking defilements only. And defilements mean we keep on making reactions. We keep on looking for pleasure principle. When you keep on looking for pleasure, we will have to always, all the time, each and every second, we will have to keep certain things away, and we will have to try to hold on to some other things. So this generally create tension, and that tension is what is used in our biochemical mechanism. That is the only thing that our mind understands. So when you observe that biochemical mechanism is challenged, when that mechanism is challenged, of course, our brain gets rewired. So this is why the scientists have been telling for now quite some time. Train the mind, change the brain. It is possible, and there are people doing it even now, but I'm not quite sure whether the pharmaceutical industry is very much fond of it. They don't want water and the mind to purify us. They want us to have as much disease, as much problem, both physical and mental, possible, so that their fat bellies can be even bigger. So therefore, this observation is completely, although it looks a very simple thing, although it is something that nobody would like to do, it is the highest efficiency, it is the highest skill that a human being can develop. Otherwise, we will be simply doing only what the animals are doing. We don't do anything else. Maybe the way we do is different, but we still, end of the day, it's the same thing. We eat, drink, live in fear, and produce our own kind. This is what every other animal is also doing. So therefore, or rather improve, or at least introduce for your way of living this particular skill of observation. And that will gradually take away the frictions that you are creating to yourself. And when you take away the friction, it will conserve energy. And when it not only conserves energy, the whatever energy that you have will also be made efficient. So therefore, you will be efficient at your workplace. You will be efficient at home. You will have much better relationship. When there is no reactional mentality, your creativity will improve unimaginable way. So therefore, there are so many benefits from being mindful, but don't be mindful for those benefits, because those benefits are only short term. The benefits are only medium term. So if you focus these benefits, then you will not get the benefits in the first place. But if you don't expect anything, if you simply become observant of the moment without expecting anything, then only your creativity will improve. Then only your efficiency will improve. Then only your happiness will improve. So you will not be, therefore, overwhelmed by sensuality. What you have been looking for, looking by satisfying your eye, satisfying your ear, satisfying your sense faculties, will be better enjoyed without satisfying them. When you simply observe the natural things that are happening, you will be happier than having the sensual pleasures. So therefore, in that manner, it will give you an opportunity to create a newborn, new. You will be able to see new facet of you, and you will be a newborn person when this observation technique is introduced to your life. And especially, this is very good for people who have some addictions. And when there are addictions, we have so many techniques to come out of the addiction. But the best technique is you continue with the same addiction, but be mindful of that. You observe the process of what you are doing. So I have met a lot of people, rather than saying a lot of people, quite a few people with addictions. And I have asked them not to stop the addiction. I have asked them to continue the addiction, but with awareness to each and every step of their addiction. So I met someone who was addicted to alcohol, and I asked him to take alcohol from the time he touched the bottle until the drink goes and settle in his tummy. You simply keep observing each and every step. If you can't keep observing, you label each and every steps that you are doing. And then after 9 months, he told me the first time in my life, he's in his mid 60s. He told me few years ago, now about 5 or 6 years ago, after practicing with me, first time in my life, I gave a dinner in my house without alcohol. That much he has changed. So in that manner, I have met people who have addicted to drugs. I have met people addicted to prostitutes, and all of them have come out of those addictions not by stopping them by force, but doing it mindfully. So when you are mindful, what happens is, how the addiction stops is, it provides you an opportunity to see yourself. So when you see yourself, you will never want to see a bad side of you. So when the attention is turned to yourself, the first thing that you see is the defilements that you are doing, the defilements that you have created. So when you see the defilements that you have created, then you don't require a law. You don't require your partner to tell. You don't require your parents or grandparents to tell you. You yourself have seen it. So you will immediately take the action. You will be ashamed of yourself. And then you will have moral fear about what is going on, and you will correct yourself. And there are so many examples of people are coming out of such addictions, just being mindful of the same addiction that they are addicted to. So therefore, this is a miracle remedy for a lot of things, and it is rather than medication, it is rather than a remedy, it's a way to prevent. If you do it now, lot of things can be prevented. Lot of things can be prevented. So when you prevent those things, you will have so much of happiness. You will have so much of rest. So without that rest, you will be a victim to your sense faculties, which creates, which spoils the basic energy. So therefore, if you keep observing your body, the mass that you have created from this defiled state of the mind, that since you are not adding any more defilements, it will gradually start fading away. It will gradually start getting rid of on its own. It will gradually get ripped off from the system. So when these defilements are gradually getting ripped off, so what you basically do is, from the continuous observation, you will be able to gradually go to your defiled state of mind. And that defiled state of mind, continuous observation by an advanced practitioner, will be able to a great extent, take the defilements away, and he will be able to experience this energy. So this is not a myth. This is not that is something happening in a talk. This is not something that appears in a book. This is something that can be experienced. Buddha has experienced that for himself, and he has laid the foundation for all other people to experience that. I'm sure, and you know, that these things are not being taught or discussed or given in a sermon in lot of places, lot of places where the monks are living, because lot of them, they don't practice this. They have their own defilements. They contaminate their energy continuously in a different way, and sometimes they are much worse than the lay people. But there is a magnificent gift that the Blessed One has left for us human being, and he did that 2,600 years ago, and we are celebrating that in 2 days. When we celebrate that in 2 days, just go to temples and see whether they are more and more defiling their sense faculties, or whether they are going to come out of it. And everywhere There will have a lot of singing, a lot of feast, and lot of decoration. It's a party. It's Buddha's birthday party. It's not Buddha's enlightenment party. It's not the celebration of what he presents, lovely being called human being. It's going completely in the wrong direction. So we have a gift we have received from our parents, and that gift is the gift. So we should try our level best to take that basic potential that we have and practice observation as much as possible. So when you practice, if you practice the purification of mind in that manner, and that is the best gratitude that you can pay to Rishani, because she lived by an example and she has left that legacy to us. And I have reminded this last time also when I spoke to you guys, and I'm reminding it again. Don't undermine what she did, and don't just leave that legacy just fade away, and don't just do remind it or remember it only after once a year, only in a sermon. Make it part of your life. When you make it part of your life, and you will really appreciate becoming the husband to such a woman, and mother of such a lovely lady, and friend of such a person. So just before I conclude, I just want to do a bit of slight marketing, if you don't mind, Bashita. I'm writing a book on, I have of course written, and it is under print, a mindfulness in a nutshell, a practical guide, very small book, and it may be very helpful for people in the future. So when the book is ready, I will send it to Basita, so Basita can distribute among whoever who is interested in reading that. And also, since there are quite a few young people, just not only I'm giving talks, we have an English group. So I encourage all of you to join that English group and see this, try to practice this important skill that we can develop. So that that practice, that involvement in the real teaching of the Buddha will be the real Anumodana for everybody. So hope this talk has helped you to look at the life in a different way. So may you all be blessed with the blessings from the Triple Gem. Teruvan Saranai. Over to you, Pasita and Lash. And I would like to take few questions if anyone is having any question.
Thank you, Venerable Thero. Shall I ask a question? Question, I guess, to ask is, so from your teachings, you speak of consciousness, but I think without consciousness, without perception, are we not in a coma, or are we not dead? With consciousness and perception, my understanding is we have this illusion of reality which is based by our perceptions, but by attaching them to them or identifying them, that's what provides us with suffering. But without the consciousness, without the perceptions, how can we be human and continue along life by simply observing? Does that not mean we're just floating along life? In society these days, you have to kind of make decisions as you go along. You know, should I take this job? Should I go to this place? Should I travel here? And most of the times when we make those decisions, we do it with emotion or with the perceptions. We base it on that. So how does one live in society and make those decisions without, I guess, without that consciousness or relating to the perceptions that we have?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. You're 100% right. We are made of dirt, so we need dirt to live. So what Buddha says is, there is an excessive part in it. Just take that excessive part away. So by continuous observation, what we do is we call it clinging. The craving leads to clinging, and that clinging part is taken away. So therefore, we need to have consciousness. We need to have eye consciousness, ear consciousness, etc. But only for its utility value. But now what has happened is our suffering has been created by going excessive, going clinging. So our ear, our eye has become a bottomless bucket. Our ear is a bottomless bucket. All our sense faculties are bottomless buckets. So we have so much of investment portfolios, but still we are not happy. That is because we are clinging on to things. So therefore, we will have to, by continuous observation, you will gradually understand that is what we call middle path. We don't completely give away consciousness. We don't completely give away mental volitions. We don't completely give away feelings. We don't completely give away perception. They are having their own value. Their own need is there. But just take that utility value for the sake of living, because we are made of those things and we need those things to some extent, but don't go excessive. So therefore you are right, but 50%. I'm not quite sure whether I answered your question.
That's good. That's very good. Thank you very much.
You answered.
That's it. So questions, Dina? So questions, never
Is there anybody on that? Ehemanan, in order to, I will suggest that we will conclude the session. To conclude the session, we have listened to the real teaching of the Buddha, and you have also learned few tips how they can be incorporated into your lives. So in this manner, we have generated during this 1 hour or so a tremendous amount of positive energies to our systems. So these positive energies, instead of accumulating only for us, we can share that with the rest of the living beings as well. And especially to not only just Rishani, if she is expecting any of our positive energies, may she definitely receive all these positive energies, and may she be able to conclude this suffering samsara as quickly as possible. And in addition to that, any other deceased that person that we know that is related to us in the whole of samsara expecting any such positive energies, may all of them receive these positive energies. May they come out of suffering as well. And also all the other living beings who are expecting such positive energies, may they receive them and be happier, and may get open, may the Dhamma get open for them. So with that determination in our mind, with that expectation in our mind, we can chant the traditional stanzas to transfer merits. You can chant with me. Ittavata chammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe devanumodantu sabbasang pattisiddhya. Ittavata chammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe bhutanumodantu sabbasang pattisiddhya. Ittavata chammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe sattanumodantu sabbasang pattisiddhya. Akasatta cha bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkhantu buddha sasanam. Akasatta cha bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkhantu buddha desana. Akasatta cha bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkhantu buddha savakam. Idang o nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang o nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang o nyati nang hotu සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ. ප්‍රාර්ථනා ගාථාව. ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තිය. ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තිය. ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තිය. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You can just worship there itself. I will bless all you guys. Abhivadana silissa nichang vaddapachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayu vanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti nevacha ato nibbana sampatti minate samichyatu. Teruvan Saranai, over to you, Bashita.
Dharmadeshana, for the Dhamma servant, we are very, very thankful to our Thera, Dhammarakkhita Thera. And as we know, that's we all knew that you help a lot to my wife, even before getting sick and then after the getting sick and during the last period or two. And we very thankful for that too, Thera, and thankful for today's Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much.
Teruvan Saranai. Can I disconnect from here now?
Thank you, sir.
Teruvan
Thank you.
Saranai.